Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriya Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nati. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, today we will start chapter number 5. Chapter 5, first canto, titled Narad's Instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Text 1. Sutu vacha atitam sukham asina upasinam brihachriva devarshi viprarshim veena pani smayaniva. Sut Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narad Muni, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the Rishi among the Brahmins, means Vyasa. So last chapter ended when Narad Muni had just appeared on the scene and Vyasa ji just asked him to sit down. He greeted him and he's going to ask him questions. He asked him the questions. So purport. Narad was smiling because he well knew the great sage Vyasadeva and the cause of his disappointment. As he will explain gradually, Vyasadev's disappointment was due to insufficiency in presenting the science of devotion service. Narad knew the defect and it was confirmed by the position of Vyasa. So even the great sage Vyasadeva, even he was dissatisfied and he was disappointed. Could not figure out what is the reason. And so at that time, his spiritual master asking him, so you all satisfied? So next verse, Narada says, Narada vacha parasharya mahabhara vachit atmana paritushyati sharira atma manas evava. Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narad inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? So Narad Muni is asking him a question. Narad Muni knew what exactly is the cause of dissatisfaction, but he is asking him questions like that. And he addressed Vyasadeva as son of Parashar Muni, Parasharya. Means he is telling Vyasadeva that you have a great lineage, you are coming from the great lineage of sages and you yourself such a big sage. You should know what is the cause of your dissatisfaction. So there was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasadeva, as the descendant of Parashar, a greatly powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage, which should not have given Vyasadeva cause for despondency. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as a self or the mind as self, but Vyasadeva should not have done so. So this is what Narad Muni means. Even when Krishna asked question to Arjuna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, they kind of make fun of the disciple, kind of. Inside, like Krishna also says Arjuna different names. He calls him Kunti Putra, he calls him Partha, he calls him, and just him telling him, your lineage is so great, how come you're confused? And here also Narad Muni is kind of telling Vyasa, you're coming from great sage Parashar Muni, how come you're confused? And how come you're addressing, you're thinking of yourself as a body or the mind? Jigyasitam susampannam apite mahadadbhutam kritvan bharatam yastvam sarvartha paribrahmitam. No doubt your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled. A wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. So Prabhupada is writing, the despondency of Vyasadeva was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student he had fully inquired about the Vedic literatures, as a result of which Mahabharata is compiled with full explanation of the Vedas. So Vyasadeva had all the knowledge. So it wasn't that he lacked any knowledge, and that's why he was not satisfied. Jigyasitam adhitam cha brahmyattat sanatanam tathapi shochasyam atma akritartha eva prabhu. You have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as knowledge derived therefrom. Why should we despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? So Narad Muni is again asking, you have described impersonal Brahman completely, and whatever knowledge you can get from Brahman, the Brahman knowledge, then why you are despondent? The Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra, compiled by Sri Vyasadeva, is the full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature, and it is accepted as the most exalted philosophical exposition in the world. It covers the subject of eternity and the methods are scholarly. So there cannot be any doubt about the transcendental scholarship of Vyasadeva. So why should he lament? Same thing, Krishna asked Arjuna, why are you lamenting? You're talking like a very learned person. So I guess all the student-disciple relationship is like that. So the student-teacher relationship is like that. Teacher first has to explore what exactly his student, what's the position of his student is. Right now, Shukdev Goswami hasn't started speaking, but when he starts speaking, he will also explore what's the level of Parikshit Maharaj. They don't just give the knowledge. They want to make sure the student is ready. So here Vyasadeva is being interrogated by Narad Muni. We can't even imagine Vyasadeva getting interrogated. Vyasuvacha astyev me sarvam idam tvayoktam tathapi natma paritushyate me tanmulam vyaktamagad bodham prichamahe bhavatma bhutam. Shri Vyasadeva said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Despite all this, I am not pacified. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. For you are a man of unlimited knowledge due to your one, Brahma, who is self-born. Self-born means born without mundane father and mother. So just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, when one approaches a guru, he has to humbly approach him, serve him, and then humbly do the inquiry. So Vyasadeva is also kind of approaching Narad Muni like that. He already served him by requesting him to take the seat, asking him. And then now he is humbly asking him for what the root cause of his dissatisfaction. And he is glorifying him that you are a man of unlimited knowledge due to your being the son of Brahmaji. In the material world, everyone is engrossed with the idea of identifying the body or the mind with the self. As such, all knowledge disseminated in the material world is related either with the body or with the mind. And that is the root cause of all despondencies. This is not always detected, even though one may be the greatest erudite scholar in materialistic knowledge. It is good, therefore, to approach a personality like Narad to solve the root cause of all despondencies. See, in the material world, all the knowledge is related either with the body or with the mind. And when this knowledge is related with that, and when we are studying that, when we follow knowledge, there is no way that we can be perfectly happy. Even the compiler of all the Vedas and all the scriptures, even he himself wasn't happy even after compiling all this knowledge. So how can we be happy when we get a little fraction of that knowledge and we try to live off of that knowledge? How can we be happy? So this is the reason for this conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasa. Savai Bhavan Veda Samasta Guyam Asito Yat Purushpura Paravaresho Manasagurishwar Vishwam Srijati Vatyati Gunair Sangha. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. So everything that is mysterious is known to you, Vyasdev is saying, because you are devotee of Shri Krishna. A person who is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord is an emblem of all knowledge. Such a devotee of the Lord is in full perfection of devotion service, is also perfect by the qualification of the personality of Godhead. As such, the eightfold perfection of the mystic power constitute very little of his godly opulence. A devotee like Narad can act wonderfully by his spiritual perfection, which every individual is trying to attain. Shri Narad is a sent person, perfect living being, although not equal to the personality of God. See, this is very important for us to understand. A man, a person who sent and engaged in the service of the Lord, he gets all the opulences of the Lord in the degree the Lord wants to have. Narad Muni is given the opulence of bhakti. He's a Shakti of Krishna. Means Shaktavish means is given that Shakti, given that power of bhakti and the power to disseminate this knowledge of bhakti. So Prabhupada is writing, such a devotee of the Lord in full devotional service is also perfect by the qualification of the personality of God. So he becomes perfect, not by his own qualities, but by the mercy of the Lord, he becomes perfect. And you have all the knowledge because you are a devotee of the Lord. So for a devotee of the Lord, there is nothing lacking in this whole world. By writing the eightfold perfections, the Ashtasiddhi that the yogis aspire for, they are opulence. A devotee has all those also. If he wants to use, he can use this Ashtasiddhi also, but doesn't he generally use this. So a devotee, because by the mercy of the Lord, because he is engaged in the service of the Lord, he gets by Krishna's mercy, he gets all the opulences, all the knowledge, everything. The only thing the devotee is interested in is I just want to serve Krishna. I don't care for any of this. I don't care for any of the knowledge. If the knowledge is required for me to serve Krishna, let it be so. This is the position of a devotee. Then, later on, some places for Narad Muni, Shukdev Goswami says, when Narad Muni starts speaking, Shukdev Goswami says, Shri Bhagwan Vacha or Shri Narad Vacha. Where he uses this word Shri because Narad Muni, he also is Narad Muni Bhagwan. Of course, Muni is Bhagwan. Even Prabhupada writes in the last line. He is a sent person, perfect living being, although not equal to the personality of Godhead. But because he got so much of opulence in terms of 6 opulences, Narad Muni had the opulence of knowledge and bhakti. So he got so much of opulence that he can be compared as good as Bhagwan. He is not Bhagwan, but he can be called as good as Bhagwan. And this opulence is because of his full surrender to Krishna. And by mercy of Krishna, he gets this knowledge. Just like Lord Shiva is also written many times, Shri Bhagwan Vacha. He is not Krishna. Shiva is not Krishna. But Lord Shiva, he is a pure devotee, he is a Param Vaishnava. So he got some of the opulences or some of the powers in full by the mercy of Krishna. So he can be called like that. Just like in the 3rd chapter, what we call the the Paribhashya Sutra of Bhagavatam, where it is said that Ete Chanshkala Punsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna is Swayam Bhagwan. There, the definition given of Swayam Bhagwan is one who is not dependent on anybody for his being Bhagwan. Narada Muni, Shivji and others, they are dependent upon Krishna. Because Krishna, by his mercy, he gives them the opulence, he gives them the powers. But Krishna doesn't get the powers from any other source. He has the powers within himself. So he is called Swayam Bhagwan. And all these different vibhutis, different personalities, they can have power to whatever extent Krishna wants to give. And they can also be called as Bhagwan. That's his philosophical knowledge. Tvam paryatan vark iv trilokim antashchar vayurivatma sakshi paravare brahmani dharmato vrataha snatasya menunam alam chakshva. Like the sun, your goodness can travel everywhere in the three worlds. And like the air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive super soul. Please therefore find out the deficiency in me, despite my being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary rules and regulations and laws. So Vyasadeva, see how humbly he is approaching Narada Muni. He's saying, you are like sun, you can go anywhere in the universe. And also, like sun, he can dissipate the ignorance, darkness of ignorance from anybody's mind. And like air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. Means, like air, you can go inside, and you can go inside me and tell me what's the cause of my despondency. So he is approaching Narada Muni in such a humble fashion. Please, you tell me. Vyasadeva himself is saying, I am not able to figure out myself, although he had all the knowledge. Shri Narada Vacha Bhavatánudita prayam yasho bhagavato malam yenai vaso natushit shanam khilam. Shri Narad said, you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless, it's useless. The eternal relation of an individual soul with the Supreme Soul, personality of Godhead, is constitutionally one of being the eternal servitor of the eternal Master. The Lord has expanded himself as living beings in order to accept love and service from them. And this alone can satisfy both the Lord and the living beings. Such as they completed many expansions of Vedic literatures and with the Vyasa, but none of them have been written directly glorifying the personality of Godhead. So this is what satisfies the Lord. Everything is in relationship with him. If any philosophy proposing dry philosophical speculations, even on the transcendental subject of the Absolute, have very little attraction without directly dealing with the glorification of the Lord. So this is what pleases Krishna, if some philosophy glorifies him, some writing glorifies him. But then, why he likes to be glorified? Why does he like to be glorified? I mean, many times people misunderstand Krishna's position and they say, oh, he is very egocentric. That's why he likes to be glorified. He likes everybody to glorify. Just like these days, all the politicians, they like their glorification. Everywhere they go, sometimes they hire people for glorifying themselves. Or the sports people, or the movie people, or the business people, they like to be glorified very much. In fact, without taking any name, there were some intellectualists, rich people, they used to come donation, they clearly told me, clearly, without any ambiguity. This probably we have everything. We have money, we have name, we have power, we have followers. All we need, all we want when we come to the temple is you should just give us some nice garland, give us some nice talk about us a little bit, because this satisfies us. This gives us satisfaction. And then we'll give more money, no problem. Money is not a problem. See, so same thing Krishna. Krishna also likes to be glorified. But since we are part and parcel of Krishna, we also like to be glorified. But without understanding why Krishna likes to be glorified, why Krishna wants everybody to speak about him. Why? Because this will purify us. It's nothing for Krishna. Krishna is Atmaram. He is completely satisfied in himself. He doesn't need our glorification. And what can we, with such a little knowledge, with tiny little intelligence, how can we even glorify him? What words can we use to glorify him? Hardly any. But why he wants us to glorify him is because by doing so, we will get purified. We will, our dirty consciousness will get purified. And once we glorify him, we will understand our position also, who we are and who Krishna is. On the other hand, in the material world, when we glorify somebody, first of all, this glorification is not coming from the heart, most of the time. And then we are full of envy inside. Outside we are trying to glorify just to pacify him, just to satisfy him. Inside the envy is so much, oh, I wish I had this position, I had this power where you are at. But when we try to glorify Krishna, this mentality, by continually glorifying him, it goes away. Envy is there, yes. But slowly it goes away when it continually glorify him. That's why he says, chant my name. Why would Krishna want anybody to chant his name? Because this will purify the jiva who's chanting the name of Krishna. If I chant the name of, say, Narendra Modi or Rahul Gandhi or anybody like that, it will not purify me. It will contaminate me more. But just for little profit, little position, people glorify their leaders like that. That just for little bit they can bestow. But Krishna, when we glorify him, when we chant his name, when we talk about him, when we read his books, it basically purifies us, it basically makes us eligible to go back to the spiritual world, where the profit is unlimited and eternal. Unlimited profit. Unlimitedly, we can be in the service of Krishna with enjoying unlimited bliss. But here in the material world, what unlimited? Even the person on the power cannot remain more than 5 years, if at all he is lucky. So that's a big difference. But still, people like to glorify here other people who have power, position, money, so they can get it and they think I'm very happy. Even Vyasa was not happy, writing all the scriptures, and the Vedas deal with mostly karma-kanda activities. Vyasa was not at all happy. How can we be happy following those scriptures and following those activities, following those rules of karma-kanda or jnana-kanda? So basically, this is what Narada Muni is trying to tell him. The compiler of the Vedanta Darshan is Vyasa himself, yet he is troubled, although he is the author. So what sort of transcendental bliss can be derived by the readers and listeners of Vedanta, which is not explained directly by Vyasadeva, the author? Herein arises the necessity of explaining Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam by the self-same author. So Vyasadeva himself wrote the Vedanta Darshan, Vedanta Sutra. Even he himself was not satisfied. And what to speak of not even Karmakandis, but to speak of people who want to just approach the impersonal feature of the truth, absolute truth, impersonal feature of Krishna. And then they say, Om Shanti, and then I'm completely satisfied. How is it possible? It is not at all possible. They think they are happy, they think they are satisfied, but they can never be satisfied. Vyasa, who himself gave this philosophy, he was not satisfied. So that philosophy can be satisfied. So it's 8:57. We'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pramod this side. Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
one thing is coming to my mind. If the Vedas are all full of Karam Kandas and Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the Vedas are all full of Karam Kandas discussed earlier, the Lord himself, and is such a kind of learned scholar and sage. So, what could be the purpose behind putting the Karam Kandas into the Vedas if we wanted the general mankind to follow them?
Because he knew most of the people want to follow this. So idea was to gradually uplift them. Okay, you want to follow Karma Kanda, at least follow the Vedic way of doing Karma Kanda. Don't make up your own system or own ways. So once they start following Vedas, then they can have some faith in the scriptures. And also by following Vedas, by doing Karma Kanda, they will get frustrated very soon because it does not satisfy the soul. It will not satisfy the soul. So then they will inquire about what is higher. Maybe this lifetime, maybe next lifetime, maybe some other lifetime. They'll come into this position of inquiring. Even today, you go around, if we go around our household, we ask people, most of the people are only interested in Are Baba, Dhanam Dehi, Rupam Dehi, Patani Dehi, Pati Dehi, job Dehi, this Dehi, that Dehi, but yahi hota hai. Nothing else goes on. Like today is what? Friday, so they'll go to Durga Mata Mandir, and Monday, Shivji Temple, Saturday, Shani Temple, all these temples. What for? Give me money, give me power, give the best education for my son, let him become doctor, engineer, get my daughter married to a wonderful person. This is the end of life. This is the goal of the life. It's not. But most people are only interested in Karmakanda, that's it. And in fact, Krishna told Arjuna also in Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Vedas mostly deal with three modes of material nature. Rise above that. He tells Arjuna, rise above that. So he's not putting down the teachings of Vedas, but he's telling a devotee should rise above that. A person should rise above these teachings of Vedas. Is that okay?
Hari Bol Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Prabhuji, these Vedas, by any chance, do they also direct, in spite of these Karam Kanda prescription, gradually do they also direct people towards, say, Bhagavatam or maybe serving the Lord as well?
Well, Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedasya Sarver Ahame Vedya. By Vedas, I am to be known. But it is for a person, if his desire is there, he will approach a proper guru, and then the guru can teach him what is the real purpose of Vedas.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes,
Thank you,
Radha
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
No, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thanks for the nice lecture in the morning. we are just taking it for granted for many days, but it is such a purifying experience. The whole day passes in goodness. Half an hour of listening to Bhagavatam from you makes the whole day very peaceful. Thank you very much.
Well, mine too. It happens like that with me also.
True, I agree with it.
By your mercy, I am also getting a chance to read Bhagavatam again. So it's good for me also.
And Prabhuji, today we have not even faced this network problem. Usually we do face, but today I don't know. There was no network problem at all.
I guess it's a mercy of all the devotees. Acha, today is also Rukmini Dwadashi. So I didn't get a chance to talk about Rukmini Devi. So whenever you get a chance, read on the internet or somewhere about Rukmini Devi, because it is a appearance day of Rukmini Ji. So Krishna's foremost queen in Dwarka. So wonderful conversation Krishna had with Rukmini Ji in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read that. Hare Krishna.
We would like to hear from you, Prabhuji, instead of reading. We will not get the taste otherwise.
No, it's not about taste. I would say about myself. I would rather say that I am lazy to go to the internet and even read it. So I better to hear from you.
Okay, I'll try to prepare a lecture on her. Acha, tomorrow evening I'm tied up. I have to go somewhere. So won't be able to have the class. And Sunday evening we'll have class on Lord Narsinghadev.
Okay. Sure, Prabhuji.
Because it's Narsingh Chaturdashi, so we'll have the class on Lord Narsinghadev.
Prabhuji, what will be the timing?
Time 4 to 5. 4 to 5 is proper time.
Hello? Hello, ma'am. Because
Oh, sure, Prabhuji.
I will change
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.